working our way here through this third week of fall camp. Huskers will scrimmage on Saturday, their final scrimmage of fall camp. I'll tell you guys, the defense, though, this unit's coming together, man. I've talked to some people that were at practice. I think there's a lot of optimism about this unit, the scheme of Tony White, a lot of shifting, a lot of stunting, a lot of free rushers coming in. I mean, I just think there's a lot of elements to this that intrigue me for an opener, because Minnesota won't have as much to prepare. Yes, they can look at Syracuse film, but it's not going to be the same exact defense that they ran. There's going to be twists to it that fit Nebraska's personnel. And I think there's enough veterans in this defense as well that have made the transition sit pretty easy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, Matt Rule said the word dominated. The defense dominated the scrimmage on the last scrimmage on Saturday. Now, he went back on that a little bit, but I'm going to go with what he said initially. He said the defense dominated. Now, sometimes you guys have covered this a long time. Coaches come off the field, they're hot. A lot in football, there's a lot going on. That quick assessment can be a little inaccurate sometimes, especially after you watch the film. But it's a good sign. I think it's a good sign that his first impression was they dominated. The other thing I'd say is, Sean, I go back and forth on that conversation of, can that 3-3-5 surprise Minnesota? Yeah, I think it can. I as I said, I go back and forth. Right now, I'm kind of on I think they can do some things that could get Minnesota kind of discombobulated early and have an impact on the game.
I think so much of that is the versatility of their personnel, where you have guys that can play with their hand in the dirt. They can drop back into coverage. You have safeties that can drop back, and you have other ones that can play in the box against the run, a stout run defenders. So I think having those interchangeable parts is kind of the hallmark of that defense. They seem to have a lot of them at all three levels.
Yeah, they do.
And so that I think helps in a significant way. The other part, though, I really liked about what Tony White said when talking about his defense is, yes, they do all these different things. They're always moving. They're always, changing things up, but they're not going to overwhelm their players. If they see a guy can't handle something, they're going to scale it back, and they're going to play to that player's strengths so that they can actually just go play football, and not be caught overthinking everything to where you're taking yourself out of plays before the ball's even snapped.
There's a few X factors that we don't know. Number one, I'll say this. I think Nick Henrich is back, and I think he's had a good camp. And people I've known that, wow, he looks faster and better than he has before. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's a black shirt and he's starting. And I think people forget Nick was a captain. He's the only returning captain on this roster. But because he was hurt for the spring and hurt, you didn't necessarily look at him as a captain in the spring, but you can just on the show they do, you can see his leadership. He's a leader. Him and Luke Reimer are leaders of this defense. MJ Sherman. I mean, I like the look of that linebacker group. The question now is the defensive line. Can they get enough depth there? We know who that starting three at least appears to be: Blaise Gunnerson, Nash Hutmacher, and Ty Robinson. What is that second group? Elijah Judy's in there. That. Ruquan Buckley probably in there. Kai Whalen probably in there.
Got the guys.
And then the freshmen. I mean, Cam Lenhart, I think, is a factor. Princewell Yellen, we don't know where he's at. He was hurt. But you heard Matt Rule guys make the comment, this is a grown man's football game we're going to play on 8/31. He keeps saying that, by the way. 8/31.
They always say that. Those kids are saying that too. They listen to Rule. They always refer to as 8/31. The name we haven't been hearing, and I don't know if it's just because nobody asked, is Elijah Judy. Judy's got to be big in this. It's a little surprising to me we don't mention him as a starter. I just don't. On the other hand, I don't know exactly what White's looking for from those positions up front. But Judy's got to be – I got to think he's a critical piece to this. We just haven't heard much about him this month.
And who knows why that is. A lot of times it's just because coaches don't get asked about him. It's very few times that they just – unprompted bring a guy up, and so maybe he's doing everything that they expect, and so he just kind of gets forgotten about compared to surprises and your other known commodities.
And if they do bring up a guy unprompted, hello headlines.
Notable. Absolutely.
I mean, they brought up Fields unprompted. And we jumped all over that.
Is he the number 2 rover?
Is he number 2?
No, that's my question to you.
I don't know.
Who is the rover after Isaac?
What about Javin Wright?
No,
Javin Wright's a linebacker.
Yeah, he's working linebackers.
Moved to linebacker. He's not secondary anymore.
Yeah, Sean, you know my thing. I hate it when we ask questions we don't know.
No, but I'm just like,
But-
could he be? Could he be the number 2 rover?
I don't even know who the number 1 rover is.
Gifford.
Is it Gifford for sure? Or is he playing straight safety?
Well, I think Singleton, and then once again, is Hartstog a corner or Hill a corner?
I thought they characterized Gifford as a safety. That he's playing.
But the rover is a safety.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
three
it's just-
safeties.
There's 3 safeties, man.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Let's not overthink this.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
we
call
can
him a safety.
we can overthink it with the best of them.
Uh,
It's hard though. You were saying today, Sean. It's hard to pinpoint some of these positions.
Because they won't say who's playing where. Like it's
everybody's
like
working everywhere.
versatility.
Yeah. So don't. Yeah. I think the key for us is not to get too caught up in that. Who's the rover? I don't know. Could be one of about 7 guys probably.
I think Matt Rule will put a depth chart out.
By the way, I've heard Hartzog works at Rover too. So I don't know who that's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Hartzog, by the way.
I think Rule will be the kind of coach, though. He will put a depth chart out. I mean, remember who was the worst one? Well, Frost wouldn't put him out sometimes. Pelini definitely wouldn't
Bo.
put him out.
Yeah.
Did Bo not ever put out a depth chart?
No.
One Frost was kind of weird about it
Yeah,
at
he
times too. I mean,
Frost and Bo had a lot of similarities. Frost was much like Bo. He just disguised it much better.
Bo would put like 1 out and it'd have like 50 oars on it. And then they would never change it the rest of the season. Even if a guy was hurt, like
it would be like Keith Mann having to make changes, just like obvious changes.
yeah, season-ending injury. You just take the guy out
Where-
of the starting lineup.
Under Solich and even Callahan, like the Monday or Tuesday pressers, both days, like they would legitimately I mean, you would feel like the hot off the press depth chart each week. And I mean, you'd sit there and study it because they would make legit changes every week on that depth chart
Yeah.
before the press conference. Remember that?
I wonder what we're going to see on on that first game week press conference, if we're going to see a legit depth chart.
It's going to be Friday, right? That's the initial plan.
Yeah.
Friday before the Thursday game.
Okay.
And then we're going to be Mondays Matt Rule only.
Okay.
And it'll be a Matt Rule for 30 minutes on Mondays at noon.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things on that, but they definitely want to play a lot of guys.
17 to 25.
Yes.
That's the number he put on it. Rule.
And on the D line, they said they got 6 they feel good about playing right now. They want 8 or 9.
Yeah. 6 isn't enough.
No. Especially with as much as they want to rotate, you
Right.
better have more than 6.
yeah, how many of those freshmen are beyond 4-game guys? I think Cam Lenhart is.
Yeah.
And I think Princewell Yellen is. I believe that.
Uman Yellen.
I got it right, didn't I? Wasn't full-fledged Ramir. By the way,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Matt Rule,
Do this.
either he listens to our show a lot and Sipple has hypnoptized him, or the proper pronunciation is Ramir.
Yeah. There was a video
because
they
what are you
put out
saying?
where
Matt Rule said Ramir in the video.
Ramir has a really good play, and you hear Rule like compliment. He's like, "Great job, Ramir."
I think
Someone on-
Sipple's
Someone on our board tagged all of us and said that we owe Sipple an apology.
I'll take it.
I'll wait.
Are
to
you
say
doing?
that.
Are you apologizing right
No,
now?
I'm not. I'm going to hold off until we get actual
John?
confirmation.
Would you like to apologize?
Well, what I don't like is like the Jordine Ball, the Amir Abdullah.
Amir.
I mean, you've got a couple on your belt.
Jordine was.
Jordine was a real slip.
I don't know. Is it spelled? It's Jordyn, right?
That's Jordan.
Jordan.
I got Jordine out of that.
And she goes by Jordy. But
Yeah, maybe
She
that's her
does.
confusion.
maybe someday we'll get her on our show and we'll have a good laugh
There you
about
go.
Jordine Ball.